Hey folks, Mark Lewis here. Welcome back to another WMS Wednesdays. I'm really kind of excited about this one. I got somebody I've known for way too long, 25, probably maybe get close to 30 years. I know 25 from some of the early days of WMS, and he's been in the industry forever and we've kept touch. So I'm excited about it. As most of y'all know, I announced the last time I was headed out to the Oracle conference this week, the Oracle Logistics SIG, talking all about Oracle, transportation, WMS, etc. And I've got several sessions lined up for that, but it was a busy conference and we didn't get a chance to actually do any recording. This one with Greg is actually a holdover from the work conference from a month or so ago when we had a discussion about this topic and rolling out. And I'll let Greg introduce himself here in just 1 second and the topic he wants to talk about, because it's something that's kind of top of mind right now, because we work with Alpine. I think I've mentioned it before. Redwood is not a selection partner. Like we implement software, we are 4PL, we do that. But if you need somebody to come in and optimize your warehouse, like I need slotting analysis done or something like that, or I actually have done that a lot with Greg in the past, but we don't do that right now. So we use partners like Alpine to do it. And this is what he, quote unquote, does for a living. So excited about where this one is going today. So Greg, why don't you introduce yourself and tell them what you're going to be talking about?
Yep. Howdy, everybody. Thanks for joining. My name is Greg Utter. I'm one of the senior managing directors at Alpine. And I run our systems practice, which is all things software related. So think about anything supply chain related that ends with an S, WMS, TMS, LMS. But what I really want to talk to you about today is one of our playbooks that we utilize when engaging with a customer. And this one's all about design. So think of a process where you've done a WMS selection, which, by the way, we facilitate the WMS selections as well. But what happens right after the selection, right? Well, you sign the contract. Now, guess what? It's time to dig in and do the hard work of beginning what it's going to look like to eventually implement and go live with a new piece of software. Usually, the first step is a bunch of really smart supply chain people sit in a big room and they discuss, how do we want the system to run? Now, if you've done your homework through your due diligence on your RFP or your RFQ or your RFI and your systems demos and your references, you should probably have a decent idea of how you want your systems to operate. But this is kind of a checkbox, the checklist of a 10 through 1. Don't forget about the things that you really should look at. And the first one is investing in training early. Build your competence. Get your team involved with the vendor. Most of them have training involved as let's just look at what the software looks like. We're not developing anything. We're just going to go a classroom just to give you basics 101 about the product. Number 9 is a mods contingency. So planning for the unexpected. Nobody knows what's around the corner. AI is around the corner. There's other things that are there where you may in fact have to develop or think you need to develop mods against the base solution. Nobody likes to talk about it. It always happens. I would suggest you put a governance model in that makes sure that you develop the mod based upon an ROI and a need. The next one is prototyping the environment, laying the groundwork. So ask the vendor to create a working prototype of the environment that suits the needs of your building. Don't let them come in with a design or a prototype environment from the previous customer that might be grocery related and your retail fashion. So make sure that they understand that. Number 7, think about an agile approach, right? Break down the solution design into small sections, right? Don't get in a long 2-week review talking about from receiving all the way through putting a steel on the trailer. Break them into small chunks. Inbound might be one. Inventory control might be one. Outbound might be another. So bite them off in small chunks. It's easier to digest that way. Number 6, log key requirements for your future releases. So if you know you have something pending that you haven't implemented yet, we'll just say you're going to introduce some material handling. You want to put in an ASRS, you want to put in goods to person, whatever that might be, make sure that the vendor and you understand that you need to log that to keep an eye on the horizon so you don't build a solution that makes it hard to add additional functionality. All right, moving on. Number 5, include micro value demos. Show it, just don't talk about it. So we'll just say you've gone through the initial design of receiving, have them build out, have your vendor build out a micro session to show you what it looks like on the screen. It's better to visualize than it is to look at. And then talk about paralleling the integration design, right? Make sure that tech and ops are aligned. Many times ops is way ahead of tech, and you're getting to the point where you want to start talking about integration, and IT has no idea that you've started this project. Make sure there's 100% alignment between both businesses. Number 3, engage the vendor's tech PM early, right? Make sure that vendor's tech PM understands anything that might deviate from a norm. You may have a special piece of software that you've got to integrate to that nobody's ever heard of. Make sure that all those are brought to bear so you're not going down a road that's hard to get past. Number 2, make sure that you define what your metrics of success are up front, whatever those might be. Make sure that you clearly define what KPIs you have today and be able to measure those against your future KPIs. It's really hard to come back and say, well, I think that I achieved my goals when you haven't measured against anything else. And then number 1, I'm a visual person. Which would you rather look at? A 400-page vendor SRD that describes everything that you're going to do within the application, or would you rather have process maps that duplicate what the SRD says? The vendor still needs their SRD to do the development, but I'm being a very visual person, prefer to look at things. So this is kind of a typical vendor design approach. Yep, all the information's there. If you wanted to read all 400 pages, it's probably going to conceptualize everything that you need to do. Our approach is a little bit different. We create very easy to review and understand process maps. We put them on a big plotter. We take them to the front of the conference room. We paste them up on the board. We walk up there with sticky notes and say, yeah, that's too many scans. I don't want to scan this. I want to bypass that. So making those changes up front and early will help really you guys navigate this very long 6 to 9 to 12 month process of the time it takes to sign a contract and the time that it takes to go live.
What do you think's hard? When you go into someplace and we're getting ready to look into implementing this, do you find it harder sometimes, especially with the cloud? Because you can't just modify stuff like you used to all the time. Do you think it's harder with the ops side to get them in line and make it work? Or is it harder on the IT side to get that lined up?
I think it's equal. I think if you do a good job up front, Mark, of the design phase, and I'm just going to keep harping on that, that is really what sets the tone for the whole project. And there's not a customer out there, I believe, that's going to take a vanilla package as is and do nothing with it in a complex operation. There's always going to be changes required. And like you said, this in the cloud now makes those more difficult and they're less seen. But even if you have one that is a critical requirement, it's a customer requirement in a 3PL environment, for instance, the vendor has to put it together with a quote, what's this going to take? The t-shirt sizing, small, medium, large, the time frame, but it's up to us as consultants to come back with, is there an ROI for this, or are you just doing it for the sake of doing it? That's the ops side. The IT side, you really have to pay very close attention to what you're hearing them say and what they're actually doing. It's easy to see somebody go out and build a house, right? But if you're asking the plumber if he's done inside of the walls, you can't see that. And that's the same thing that happens with IT. So IT has said, yep, we're on track with integrations. We're going to have your PO integration all built so you can do UAT and SIT. And you get to that day and they say, well, we don't have it really built, but we can feed you a couple of POs to test with, right? That should be your first red light signal that says, hey, this isn't going well. So I think it's both sides. I, from an operations background, have more visibility to the ops side, and I think we really should pay more attention to what's happening on the IT side.
I appreciate it. I want to keep these short. So listen, everybody out there, again, I've known Greg forever. We work with Alpine. operations, consulting, warehousing, selection, whatever you need, these guys know what they're doing. So don't hesitate to reach out to Greg or to me, and I can get you in touch with them. So again, thanks, Greg. Really appreciate it. And we'll see everybody later. See you next week. Have a good one, guys. Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it very much.